Hey everybody. Just for clarification's sake, I just want to let everybody know this episode was actually recorded April 19th, 2025, 6 days before my original co-host and best friend Todd Teal passed away. This episode got pushed back because the next episode that came out had to address what happened. So just keep that in mind when you're listening to this. Anyway, let's go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Crimes, Killers, Cults,
and beer.
And beer. Damn. This is episode 148. I think it's whatever the number is on the episode when you find it online. I'll have it right then. I think it's 148. But joining us once again on the show is Kevin the History Goon. What's up, man?
What's going on?
Just doing another episode.
Hell yeah. I even got dressed up for the occasion. I wore my finest Wu-Tang is for the children t-shirt and everything, so.
Damn it. I'm just wearing a regular black shirt.
I mean, I have a selection of regular black shirts. I've got probably like 30 of them.
Same. But what's going on with your podcast? Any release date yet?
We're still working on one. I do have 11 episodes banked. Hopefully in the next few weeks. I know I said that last time, and that was a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. But we're getting closer by the day, I think.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, today we're covering a cult.
No way. On this show?
Yeah, go figure. Actually, this is only like the 16th one that I've ever done. I thought I had done more than that, but I looked at it last night, and this is only the 16th one that I've done.
Yeah, and at 148, I mean, 16 is not a big percentage of that.
No, it's not. But I needed to do another cult to make up for the Fest that was a David Berg of Children of God episode. That was horrible. Oh, my God.
Well, I mean, in your defense, that's a horrible topic, too, because that guy was an asshole.
Yeah. Well, we're not dealing with a guy here in this one.
Oh, okay.
It's a woman.
Oh, even better. I mean, women can be assholes.
Oh, yeah.
I've talked about some of them in the past.
I think the two most brutal episodes that I've done were women. You know, you got Gertrude Baniszewski, and then you've got the cult Mother Anna's House of Prayer. And that's up there on the Baniszewski level. It's like, not quite there.
Oh, damn.
And so, yeah, that one. And that was a Florida cult, too.
Up there, Gertrude Baniszewski, or whatever her name is one of the... man, I never covered her on the old show, but if we had, she probably would have been top 10 worst people we'd ever talked about. We talked about, like, like dictators and
right
war criminals and stuff like that, but she was a monster.
Yeah, go back if people haven't heard that one. Go back and check it out. I don't know what number it was because I wasn't planning on talking about the bitch, but but that episode broke Todd, my original co-host.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean,
he tapped out. He tapped out of that one.
Our mutual friends David and Sarah at the Macabre Emporium podcast did an episode on her where Sarah covered her, and you could hear it in her voice that she was like very, very close to losing it a couple of times. Like, man, that's such a bad story. You know, I mean, and there's no good way to cover it because it's It's terrible. It's one of the worst things that I've ever had the displeasure of listening to anybody talk about.
I know. And I mean, sure, we made fun of her.
As you should.
And one thing that we did on our episode that not a lot of podcasts do is delve into her backstory.
Yeah. And that was
there's a lot of people just go with it, like right from the moment that Sylvia jumps in. But I mean, yeah, I covered her backstory and everything, and that's there's it's like at the beginning of it, if you're not knowing the case and you hear her backstory, you might start to feel sorry for her a little bit. But that don't last long. I'm just talking if you weren't familiar with the story.
Yeah. Not often do I ever not ever would I call a woman the C word to her face. She's one of them.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Oh boy. But today we're covering the Word of Faith Fellowship. It's a North Carolina cult run by a demented woman, Jane Whaley. And notice I said run and not ran because it's still active with her still in charge of it. She promised deliverance and salvation, and all you have to do is submit to and endure beatings, hobbyist medical procedures, psychological abuse, and the most draconian list of do's and don'ts that you've ever heard of.
Hobbyist medical procedures.
Yeah, think Anthill Kids, but not quite that bad.
Oh, okay. So no axes and feet, I'm assuming?
No.
Okay.
But unnecessary surgeries.
That's fun.
Yeah. But psychological abuse, not the least of which would be her screeching as she delivered her doomsday messages. I mean, she's a screecher. Yeah.
So, not quite female Jim Jones, but not too far off when it comes to the delivery.
Yeah, and I got a little bit of interesting information that I'm going to put in at the end of this episode. It's really, it really puts it into perspective. The cult, it's all spread like a disease all around the world. Places like Brazil, Scotland, Sweden, etc.
Damn.
Ghana. And Jane Whaley was not the daughter of a preacher man. She was the daughter of a plumber.
Taking the Dusty Roads, the Dusty Roads approach.
Yeah, and she grew up in rural North Carolina, and after graduating college, I'm guessing she went to college. It didn't really say, but she became a math teacher. But not long after that, she received the calling of God into ministry. So with no background in ministry whatsoever, in 1979, she and her husband Sam, who actually was an ordained minister, they converted an old steakhouse in Spindale, North Carolina, into a church.
A steakhouse, you say?
A steakhouse.
Nice. This place used to be an Outback.
I don't think Outback existed in 1979.
No more Bloomin' Onions, just Bloomin' cult members.
Yeah, I don't think Outback existed in 79. Could have been a Bennigan's.
I've never been to a Bennigan's.
Yeah, cool. I mean, it's just like any other Fern bar out there. I mean, it was probably the original Fern bar.
I mean, we don't have anything up here. I mean, we had a Ponderosa for a minute, and then that turned into a ground round, and then it burned down, and now it's a car wash.
Everything's a car wash now.
Oh my God. We have so the city that I work in has got like less than 10,000 people in it. I would say considerably less than 10,000 people in it. And we've got like a dozen car washes, 4 tire shops, 2 Starbucks, 4 friggin' Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, so at least there's no line at the car wash.
No, but there is crackheads at the car wash.
Oh,
every
lovely.
Single one of them.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's great.
Here, I'll use my bucket. I'll charge you less than the machine would.
Oh, no, they don't even want to work. They just want your money.
Oh, okay. They don't even walk up with a thing of bottled water and a sponge.
Nope. They work shifts at the corner by the grocery store, out pretending they're homeless. But gotta love the system here in the great state of Vermont.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a non-denominational church. Non-denominational church. And of course, all of these are. And she and Sam decided that she would be the one to take the lead, although I think it was more her being coercive and insistent and screeching at him that made Sam want to give her what she wanted. Just shut up, please. Damn. All right, fine.
Just
it's yours.
do it.
Just do it. Just stop shrieking at me.
If it'll get you to shut up for 5 minutes so I can go to the bathroom, go for it.
Yeah. So once Jane took over, Sam's role was basically to be a yes man and be quiet while Jane did all the heavy lifting. That's kind of like the Tony Alamo cult.
Which one was he? Was he the multi-level marketing guy?
Mm-mm. It was the Alamos, the rhinestone jackets that came out in the 80s.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually working on an episode about them, but it's taking me a long time because there's an awful lot there. And the book that I got is like 400 pages long. So, yeah, that one will come around eventually. It'll probably be a 2-part episode.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, but she did know how to talk and command an audience, which was what allowed her to grow her following. And before too long, she had crammed too many people into that steakhouse. You know, most steakhouses only have like a fire marshal code of like 150 at the most or whatever.
We got people sitting on decommissioned deep fryers and hanging out at the counter and shit, doing drive-through sermons.
Oh God, it's a good thing that she had gotten out of the steakhouse with the decommissioned fryers before she decided to start becoming abusive, because they might have been put back into use. And then, oh man.
As someone who has witnessed firsthand what it looks like when someone accidentally sticks their hands in an active deep fryer.
Oh, the way they do it,
great.
The way they do it in horror movies, that's not far off.
No, no. This guy was.
Well, when they got out of that, they acquired a small church complex, and her mission statement was to help the needy, the lost, and the dysfunctional. But the people who bolted told another side of the story.
So, I mean, on the surface, that's a noble thing to want to do, but when you're a power-hungry psychopath,
Yep. Oh, by the way, Jane, I'd be more than happy to have you come on and interview with me.
Who's that?
If Jane Whaley, if she wants to come on the podcast, because like I said, she's still the cult leader. If she wants to come on, here's the invitation.
I wouldn't mind being third party to that. Then we can get her to stop quick.
Oh, yeah. And also repeating, sir, not appearing in this film. And if you know, you know.
Uh-huh.
Neat. But according to Whaley, all those who left had damned their souls to hell. And they all say that.
Of course.
Her power quickly got to her head, and she began preaching and speaking, that speaking against her was speaking against God directly. And she, like all other religious fundy cult leaders, was God's one and only chosen prophet who spoke through her and only through her and nobody else. They all do it.
Yeah.
They all run by the same playbook or variations of it. They all cannibalize something, and a lot of what, Pentecostal fundy cults and everything. Parrot is the William Branham doctrine from back in like the 30s or 40s or whenever it was, and so I'm sure he's in hell saying, "Look, see, they're all doing everything they can to come down here with me."
I'm not super familiar with that. What exactly is that? Just if
our church is the only church on the planet that has the key to get to heaven.
Oh, okay.
So if so it's like, and I can remember, Hobart Freeman saying that. And, it's just like, your way to heaven is through the Faith Assembly Church and through me. And, Yeah, let's see. I think I heard that somewhere before. I think I don't know. Jesus might have said that.
Yeah, but he's Jesus, and he's allowed to say stuff like
Right,
that.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
Yeah, so it's like the exact opposite of being like a Protestant or a Catholic, where you can go pretty much anywhere in the country as long as you're finding your denomination, you're welcome there, and you're still getting the message that you'd be getting anywhere else. Where this is like,
Right.
yeah. And I think that's what makes cults so much more dangerous. Is like you can't go, you couldn't be a Presbyterian and be like, I'm going to go check out what these Wesleyans have to say.
Right.
Just kind of, bounce back and forth a little bit just to get different perspectives from different people, because there isn't any.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you deep down into it, the basic message is pretty much parroted from the William Branham doctrine. Robert Freeman was a clone of that too. I don't know if Jane Whaley was or not, but yeah, who knows?
Definitely sounds like they're all cut from the same cloth.
They are.
Yeah.
And of course, demons were everywhere. Everything was demonic, and it was her calling to rid the world of demons by any means necessary.
Go on, get.
Go on, get.
Have you ever seen that meme of the Texorcist?
Mm-mm.
Maybe
it does kind of sound familiar.
Yeah, it's like this little hand-drawn thing of what's her name from The Exorcist, and she's like
Reagan.
crawling across the ceiling, and this dude with a big mustache and like a 10-gallon hat and the suit, like looking like an oil baron, just like pointing at the door. Go on, get. I fucking love that.
But the church at the time, was not open to the public. To join, you had to be more or less sponsored by a member. But every few months, they did open the doors to the public for teaching seminars. And this actually seemed to bring in more new people than using, just using the old, you want what you can't have method of growing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we just want to see what's going on in there, so let's go. What, they're open now? Let's go. We're there. But
I can't remember the name of the one. The guy ended up getting arrested in Georgia. He had built this like giant commune that looked like a ended up looking like an amusement park. It was all full
Dwight
of like
York.
Yes. Yeah, I watched a little thing about him the other day, and have you covered him yet?
Yeah, we covered him early on.
Okay, I was going to say, because if not, like that would be a super interesting one, because he was
it was
out of his mind.
Yeah,
he got busted for like weapons charges and like pedophilia, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's also bringing a bunch of black people into rural Georgia dressed as freaking movie star cowboys.
Yeah,
with the big freaking belt buckles and the 10-gallon hats and all that stuff, and they're black people walking around, and trying. Because he actually thought that that's how they were going to blend in.
Right. It's like I've been to like North Georgia, and I don't think I saw a single cowboy hat anywhere. I don't think you're quite far enough west to start hitting cowboy hats. I mean, at that point, still like.
But then they became Native Americans.
Oh, okay.
And then they became like Egyptian.
Yep. Yeah, that's where it kind of stopped. And some of the robes and stuff that he had, I'm like, dude, you look like a fucking wizard out of a bad movie. What are you doing?
Oh man, I don't know. Some of these pastors in like churches and stuff like that, like Methodist Church specifically, they come out in these robes that look like a costume that was bought at like a Spirit Halloween or something. Mm-hmm. It looks so ridiculous.
Yep. I was driving through town today, and they had some kind of mass going on at the Catholic Church, which I would have thought would be tomorrow, being Good Friday, but what do I know? But the priest walked over through, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, he's straight up just got like the rope belt, and the brown thinks he's Friar Tucking it pretty good. He waved. He's a super nice guy. I've met him a couple of times in town. He's a good dude, but it's like, yep, he's got the whole thing going.
But demons affected everything. How you walk, how you talk, how you dress. Demons cause sickness.
Of course.
Therefore, if you're sick,
you had a demon and you needed deliverance rather than healthcare.
Yep, I think I've heard that one before.
Yeah. Daring to question Jane? Demon!
Mm.
Daring to think for yourself? Demon!
Mm-hmm. That tracks.
Yeah. Seminars opened with an hour-long prayer service led by Jane Whaley herself. Lots of speaking in tongues, and then there was a worship service that led to the actual sermon from her, which in most cases were over 4 hours long.
Whoa!
But like the entire thing, you're going to be there for like 5 hours
Wow.
minimum.
So you got to like take the day off, or well, you're in a cult, so you probably aren't allowed to have a job anyway. But
Well, we'll get to that. So put a knife in that. But typically, once somebody attended a seminar, they were hooked. Because lots of love bombing, lots of I mean, they're putting on the show for these potential new recruits and everything.
mm-hmm.
They're not, but then, I mean, then they would show you a little bit of their true colors, which I'm about to get to shortly.
That's like the equivalent of some high school kid being recruited by a college to go play football or something, and they're just like, "Hey, here's all the cheerleaders that are going to show you around the school and stuff. Think you want to go here? Or you still really want to go to like Eastern Michigan?"
I don't think anybody wants to go to Eastern Michigan.
No, I don't think you go there on purpose. Not to play football, at least.
Or South Detroit, which is Canada.
I'm Canada adjacent, so I shouldn't talk too much about that.
I've been right next to the Canadian border in upstate New York.
Yeah, I'm about 3.5 hours from there, but it's not even the fun part of Canada. It's the French section. So
lots of these people were from far away, and it was spun that God led you there from wherever you were because he wanted you there.
Mm-hmm.
And once you were in, you had to separate yourself from anything and everything that was deemed worldly, which, of course, was everything.
Yeah.
TV, any music other than Christian music, which was only allowed to be gospel recordings from the church. Children weren't even allowed to play outside because they might come into contact with non-believers. But this wasn't all at once. I mean, it was gradual, and it was on a case-by-case basis, too. If you came in there and they told you everything that was required of you all up front, you'd run away as fast as you could.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. Yeah.
But that was by design because it meant that Whaley could move the goalpost whenever she wanted, which was all the time.
Right. And then you're weeding out people that are, willing to think for themselves that, that's not what you want there. You want followers. You don't want,
you want weak people.
Right.
So what she was saying about wanting the dysfunctional and the downtrodden and all that stuff, she was not lying. That's what she wanted. Yeah. Because they're the easiest people to get.
Which is unfortunate because a lot of the time those are the people that are actually going there looking for
looking for something, looking for a community, looking for somebody to help pull them up, not like shackle them and keep them down.
Right.
There was a list of 145 rules that had to be memorized if you were accepted in.
Jesus.
And I'm going to do a few highlights here, but I have a list.
You said 145?
145.
I'm pretty sure Martin Luther only had like 99 that he nailed to that wall. So she's really
God only had 10.
Right. Well, I mean, there was 15 at one point.
You know what? That's a mic drop right there. God only had 10.
there was 15, but Moses dropped that one tablet on the way down. Wow, how many? That was, oh my God. I'm like, fuck, I'm old. Like, no, there's a lot of people that might listen to this that will not get the Mel Brooks joke there.
Yeah.
Oh.
History of the World Part 1.
He's 15. Shit. 10. 10 commandments. I think it was a genius.
But here's, I've got a couple highlights that we're going to get through first, just so you know what we're dealing with. But I am later on in the episode, I'm not going to go through all 145 of them, but I've got a couple highlighted.
Okay.
That we'll go through. Well, more than a couple, but yeah. Followers do not celebrate birthdays and religious or secular holidays, including Christmas and Easter, because they are pagan.
Okay.
What that is, this is just my personal opinion, but Easter and Christmas, sure, they originated pagan, but that's called religious appropriation.
Mm-hmm.
And Christianity has been doing that for centuries.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's not, there's no reason why a Christian should feel bad about celebrating Christmas or Easter because they originated pagan.
Right.
You know, hell, in another 1,000 years or so, they might have found a way to appropriate Halloween, which started off somewhat religious.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So, congregants do not watch television and movies or read newspapers or eat in restaurants that serve alcohol.
I could see, you know, yeah, maybe not watching TV or reading the newspaper because, you know, it's all horseshit anyway. But
well, it's also,
you know.
well, we'll get to that when because I've got these are just like things that I kind of pieced together.
Oh, okay.
Like combining one or two. We'll get to it. I'm just giving you a preview of what's to come. But men and women must swim with shirts covering their upper bodies and cannot take them off in public, including their own backyards.
Okay.
Well, I guess cops won't be doing any episodes from there.
Yeah, right. Every fat dude in that cult's like, yes, I can leave my shirt on in the pool so nobody can see my boobs.
Men can't grow beards. Sorry, you can't join.
Nah, that's too bad. I was sold there for a second. You know?
Members must tithe 10% of their gross earnings in addition to contributing a donation to the collection plate. So they want your 10% tithe, but they want more.
Yeah, then you throw like a 5 on the plate on Sunday. I can't afford that. I mean,
oh boy. Current church members have stated that this list of rules is inaccurate and it's never been published or distributed by the church, and that's going to go hand in hand with what I have at the end of the episode.
You know, that sounds like something that someone in the cult would say, though.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. If you have any more thoughts about it, don't give it away.
Yeah. Their argument is nuh-uh.
Yeah. Children in the fellowship are isolated, monitored, and controlled closely by the church, being educated in the church-controlled school and prevented from watching television under threat of punishment. Children are also told to display a positive attitude regardless of how they feel, to keep a happy face.
Yeah.
Homeschooling.
Don't like that.
Initially, homeschooling was prevalent because people were taught that public school was full of demons. So Whaley got the bright idea to start a school.
Maybe.
And there conveniently was an empty school building right next to the church property.
They really should have just stayed in the steak shop and then waited till Pizza Hut closed and turned that into a school.
I saw a freaking picture of a Domino's building, a Domino's franchise that had moved into an old school red roof Pizza Hut.
No way.
But it was painted blue. Talk about appropriation.
I was like, that's a big dick move on Domino's part.
I think it's genius.
Pizza the Hut.
I think it's genius because they probably have it set up like a dining room, and the way Pizza Hut doesn't do it anymore.
Right, with the red cups and all that.
Yeah, but I don't like Domino's pizza. I like them. Honestly, I liked them before they changed, before they upgraded it.
It's hit or miss. Yeah. I mean, the local one, it's either really good or it's garbage. But
my favorite chain pizza is Pizza Hut. Whether it's a hand tossed or a pan, that's my favorite chain. But obviously, I like a legit New York City pizza.
Right. I mean, I'm not above Little Caesars. I don't mind it.
I don't like Little Caesars at all.
Thankfully, the town that has all the pizza places has enough like sixth and
But
seventh generation.
if Little Caesars wants to sponsor the show, I love Little Caesars. And I will make a video doing a commercial of me eating a Little Caesars pizza and loving it.
He also owns the Detroit Red Wings and the Tigers.
Little Caesars?
Yeah. But I was saying, thankfully I live in an area with like enough like 9th and 10th generation like Italian families here that I get really good pizza.
I don't understand how Little Caesars got the endorsement to be the official pizza of the NFL last season. Because you've got people in you've got players on commercials. This is the best pizza. It's fucking Little Caesars.
Right.
Like these guys are fucking multimillionaires. They can afford to get good pizza.
Yeah, they're professional athletes. They're not eating garbage pizza.
Right. If somebody in Miami could fly to New York City just to have a legit piece of New York City pizza and then fly back to Miami and not even bat an eye about it. They're not going to Little Caesars.
The only one I can see legitimately being like, no, I'll eat Little Caesars is Rob Gronkowski. But he's just a bro. Like
he's a goofball, man.
Exactly.
I love that guy.
He's the dude that you'd be like, hey man, I got pizza. Oh, sweet. What is it? Little Caesars. Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
you don't see like Tyreek Hill going through the drive-thru in a Bugatti or something and getting 3 hot and readies.
No. He'd be the one that would fly to New York and get the pizza, the New York City pizza.
Yep.
Hashtag, but I digress. Yes, worth it though. But anyway, there's that empty school building right next to the church, and she acquired it and installed herself there as the leader of it too. Of course, she did.
Mm-hmm.
So now she's got the kids.
Great.
And this made the church even more attractive for people from for people coming from far away to attend, because now the kids can learn under the hands of the prophet herself. In other words, they were isolated.
Yeah, that's never gone wrong before, right?
Never. Not in the history of cults. Never gone wrong. Not even in this one. That school was the only bright spot about it. Not.
No.
Not. Once again, if you know, you know.
Lipstick on a pig is all it is.
Whaley,
that might be giving it too much credit, though.
Maybe. Whaley usually do a quick Google search on her, what she looks like.
Right. What's her first name again?
Jane Whaley, Whaley. Just look at her. She looks unhinged. I didn't think about this. Otherwise, I'd have a picture ready to put up on the screen, but I forgot about it. Yeah, just push your,
Jane Whaley Pastor.
Yeah.
Oh my.
She's scary looking, isn't she?
She looks like a cartoon version of Hillary Clinton.
You know, you're not wrong.
it's the eyes.
Oh, and the hair being satirically.
Yeah. Holy moly! Look at that thing. And then there's kids that are like, "Hey, look, we're happy." No, you're not. Yeah, holy cow! Look at the congregation on that one. April 15th, 2020, with 3 people in the room.
What the hell? That's weird. I'd like to know the origin story behind that.
COVID, maybe?
That's what I was thinking, but
they're demons. I'm sorry.
Yeah, demons.
Oh no, they gave her a child.
Get that baby away. Get that baby away from her.
Oh boy. She's got dogs too. That's terrible.
Yeah. By the way, people, if you're Spotify will now let me upload videos, and so listeners, let me know if you wouldn't mind if I just uploaded videos to Spotify rather than just the audio, because if you do, then I can do that, and you wouldn't have to go to the YouTube page to see what we're doing right here. Man. But I know personally, as a former truck driver, I hated it when podcasts on Spotify released video episodes, especially when I'm trying to listen to a podcast at night.
Oh yeah, because you have to have the screen on.
Yeah, and so I mean, yeah, listeners, let us know, and I'll post a question on the socials too. But yeah, I've been thinking about that. I've been seeing that, but I know how I personally feel about it. So it's just like, if you want to see video, if I'm going to watch YouTube sitting at home,
Right.
But So yeah, just let us know, let us know. But Whaley usually focused her attention and brainwashing on the mothers and kids, and the husbands wound up being driven out as a result. And gee, what? I've heard that before.
I was going to say, that sounds about the opposite of how cults usually work. But most of the ones that I've heard of aren't run by women. It's usually guys.
Faith Assembly drove my dad out of the picture.
Oh my God.
Because he was a threat. And the ones that were driven out and everything were threats too. They didn't like it. Just like my dad didn't like it. So
Damn.
They drummed him out. So but the prayer sessions were the worst. There are audio recordings where you can literally hear people shrieking, seemingly in horror, begging for Jesus and begging for forgiveness. And honestly, what I was hearing reminded me of the audio that was recorded for that scene in the movie Event Horizon. Yeah, you remember
like
when
the
they
hell noises?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. Just people wailing and screaming for Jesus to deliver them from evil. And you could even see in these videos small children participating with just as much intensity as the adults were. Bouncing around, flailing, and writhing around on the floor. And this is what Whaley called prayer blasting. And this was done, and this was something I hadn't heard before, although I have personally witnessed prayer blasting. That's just not what it was called. But this was done to ward off demons by screaming in the faces of possessed people and supposedly punching the demons by punching the air in front of them. And
prayer blasting sounds like something Jesus would do if he showed up in Dragon Ball Z. Like fighting Goku somewhere, just prayer blasts him, launches him through a mountain.
If Ryu from Street Fighter was a cult leader. So kissed. But if any kid got scared because of this, it was because the demons had that kid.
Of course.
They would hold the
scared kid,
Yeah, they would hold the kid down, get in their faces, screaming and praying in tongues, which, if you've never heard a cult episode from me before regarding praying in tongues is group speak and nothing more.
And I'm sure that doesn't scare the kid even further, being held down and being screamed at by an adult.
Oh, I know. Well, yeah, I mean, I've witnessed it.
Ugh.
But episodes 10 and 11, people. If you're new to the show. But these kids were terrified, and sometimes they would cry and scream until they passed out or even wet themselves. This happened to adults too. But it made more of an impact to do it to the kids, so they got a lot more of it than the adults did. But some kids got the point, though, and played along with the charade, which was, like I said, a lot of what, I can remember speaking in tongues and everything. I just played along, whatever, just to. My mom's like, "Oh, see, you feel it? You feel the Spirit of God going through you?" Meanwhile, my mom's
definitely.
Meanwhile, my mom's just repeating the same paragraph over and over and over that she had made up over and over and over. If God's speaking through me, why does he want me to say the exact same thing that myself or anybody else cannot understand over and over and over and over again? Unless it's some kind of incantation. In that case, I never saw anything.
Yeah. And that sounds closer to witchcraft than, anything else.
Dude, I never even thought about it like that, but you're absolutely right.
Yep.
That's going in the book.
Witchcraft or demonology or some shit like that, where, but kind of the opposite reason of why you're going to church, you'd think, but what do I know?
But you're wondering if this is similar to what I went through in Faith Assembly as a kid, and you're damn right it is. Very similar, at least up to this point, especially in the seminars. But so far, most of this I've either experienced directly or a version of it.
Damn.
Whaley didn't have a commune, so her followers had to work in order to keep her afloat. But she found a way to keep them subservient, even though they lived in their own places. Each weekday before work or school, a prayer meeting was required to attend.
Each weekday?
Each weekday, Monday through Friday. Church services were done twice on Sundays, and both services were, of course, 4+ hours long.
Doing 2-a-days on Sunday, like football practice.
Yeah, like football practice. Wednesday night was also a 4+ hour service, and Friday night was a fellowship night. Lots of people, but not all of these people, were made to work in businesses that were owned by the church's upper brass, and of course, they were paid horribly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they had to give 10% tithe and a donation out of what they did get.
And I'm sure there was somebody watching the donations going on the plate and going like, that's not enough. Throw another couple bucks on there.
Probably.
You know, which I mean, extortion, whatever.
So
why not just add it to the list?
She didn't need a commune. She didn't need one.
Nope. Nope. She owned these people.
Mm-hmm. Jane and Sam didn't need jobs either, but they lived extravagantly and they flaunted it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you saw, just like you saw in those pictures. This woman, that purple dress that she was wearing probably cost $10,000.
Oh yeah. And then another like probably $5,000 to $6,000 a month on hairspray to keep that thing. You know.
We both said hairspray at the same time.
They put her in like a half helmet and just mold that shit around. Ugh.
But now I'm going to get into some of these rules. Hold on. But you will be required to attend every service. If for some reason, unforeseen at this time, you must miss a service, you will be required to listen to the tape at the church. So basically, you have to come in when they're not in business and sit there and listen to the tape. Death and severe illness and surgery may be considered excused absences.
Well, we wanted to let you know that Jim died. That's no excuse. He better get his ass here.
He better get his ass in here.
Wheeling a dead man in on a fucking gurney, like, give it to him.
Oh, by the way, this is welcome to the Word of Faith Fellowship. Let us take this opportunity to thank you for considering membership into the Word of Faith Fellowship. Jane Whaley approved your membership and asked that you be given this new member handout. In this handout, we will list a few very important rules. A few is what it says. A few. 145. Yeah. Yeah. Do's and don'ts. Your enjoyment of your time with us will mainly be determined on how well you can get to know and keep these rules. It's like, holy crap. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't care if my membership was approved or not. If you hand me that, I'm hauling ass.
Uh-huh.
I'm like,
I've got homework for this? No, thank you. So you just handed me the MLB rule book and you're like, oh, you better follow this. I'm like, no, there's subsections in here. I'm not dealing with this.
You'll be required to tithe 10% of your gross earnings and give offerings as well. And Jane will check your records from time to time.
Like background checks?
No.
Or financial records?
You have to, there's another one in there that says you're not allowed to put like wads of cash in there. It has to be in an envelope with your name on it.
Oh.
So she keeps records of who donates what in addition to the tithe.
Oh, that's grimy. Oh,
yeah,
boy.
That's dirty.
Yeah. She's got a black book somewhere, like,
like a set of encyclopedias.
Oh, God. Bill only put $13 in this week. Ass.
Don't drink alcohol. Don't cook with alcohol. Don't cook with alcohol? I use alcohol in a lot of things. I use beer in a lot of things, and sometimes
how the hell you
wine.
Make spaghetti sauce with that red wine,
right? Well, I do it, but still, I mean,
I use like the
cheap
cooking
stuff.
red wine because I don't like wine, but if it's in the house and I'm bored, I'll wake up with a headache the next day.
Yeah, you don't eat at places that serve alcohol. Don't drink root beer.
Whoa! So we're going anti-Mormon here, huh?
Well, root beer has the word beer in it.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Now get this. Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you remember what state that I said that this was in?
North Carolina.
Next rule: don't drink cheer wine.
That I'm pretty sure that's in like the water fountains there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been to North Carolina, but I know some folks.
I think it's in the state charter that you are required to at least drink it once in your life.
Yeah, I've had it, and
I
it
have
was
too.
terrible.
I didn't like it either.
Oh, thank you.
But still, the people in North Carolina freaking love it, just like the people in South Carolina love that freaking baby diarrhea of yellow barbecue sauce.
Oh yeah, it's got cilantro in it, so it tastes like dirty soap water to me. I'm one of the lucky ones that got that genetic marker that, like, oh, you put cilantro in here, so it tastes like you didn't wash the silverware. Sweet.
Okay, so this don't drink cheer wine was just one rule. There was another rule. They could have just combined this. It says don't drink diet cheer wine.
Yeah, we got to specify, you know.
Yeah, don't
You
drink.
can't drink Dr. Pepper because that would require that you're going to a doctor, of course, too.
Well, that's not in here. But don't drink ginger ale. Ginger ale is great for heartburn.
It upsets stomachs. You microwave it for a couple seconds.
Mm-hmm. Don't smoke cigarettes. Blah blah blah. Don't read newspapers. Not even the headlines. Isolation much?
Yeah.
Don't listen to the radio. Don't read or handle magazines. Don't read books that are not approved by leadership.
Oh, I love censorship. It's the best.
Don't read your Bible too much. That's a new one that I've never heard before. But you know what that tells you? It tells you that they're twisting the fucking Bible, which is what all of these cult leaders do.
Right. And as somewhat of a a reformed atheist myself, I can tell you that, like, you listen to people like complain about it, and then you read it and you go, it doesn't really say what you're saying it does. Right. You know, you're kind of full of shit. You're just trying to, you know.
But then, don't take notes during the services.
Yeah, I could see that, because then you could go back and
catch them on some bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't get up to use the bathroom during a service. 4+ hour-long services, don't use the bathroom.
We've only been recording for an hour, and I'm like, eventually I'm going to have to.
Same. Let's get through these, and then we'll take a break.
No. I'm good now. I'm just saying, like, I couldn't imagine, like, 6 hours are like, nah, you can't piss.
Yeah. Well, you're drinking water, and I'm drinking beer, so.
Yeah, I mixed in some, I got into the heavy stuff. I got me a orange vanilla Coke, too, that I just polished off.
Coke is probably a sin, too, because it sounds like cocaine. And it used to have a little bit of a minuscule amount of cocaine in it back in the day.
Yep.
Don't close your eyes while singing. You could give over to a religious devil.
That's a real weird one.
Yeah, it is, because I am a singer, and sometimes, especially when I'm trying to hit something in my upper range, I will close my eyes.
Yeah.
Don't bring visitors unless you tell somebody in the office so they can tell Jane.
Of course.
Don't complain when the offering plates are passed more than once in a service.
More than once?
Yeah.
You got me working less than minimum wage and you want it more than once?
Yeah. Like, well, I gave you a $50 bill. That's all I brought with me. Here it is again. Here, give me a pair of pliers. I'll pull one of my kids' teeth out. Is that... I mean, damn.
I got 73 cents in my pocket. I guess I can throw that on.
You devil! 2 more cents and I could have bought a soda. That wasn't a Sprite, which is... Sprites are bad, too, because Sprite is a occult thing.
She thought of everything, didn't she?
Little Sprite character, yeah.
God damn.
Like a fairy type? Sprite? Yeah, Sprite. Sprite was a sin, too.
Loose change? Satan worshiper?
Don't allow your toddlers to eat in the sanctuary. 4+ hours.
Yeah, but that's how you get ants.
Not true. I mean,
Everything's sticky. I completely understand that one as the parent of a toddler at the moment.
not true. Don't wear jeans unless you're a construction worker.
Yeah, those lowly construction workers in their jeans.
Yeah. Don't wear shorts.
Unless you're a construction worker?
Well,
No?
no, it just says don't wear shorts. Shorts are outlawed. Shorts are the devil.
Yeah. Too much ankle going on here.
Oh yeah. Ooh, look at that sexy ankle. Oh my god. Oh my god, I've got a demon of lust.
Yeah. I'm all
Because of
fired
an
up.
ankle.
I'm all fired up because I saw fucking Bob's knee across the room,
Don't wear sleeveless dresses or tops. Don't wear dresses above the knees. Don't wear a bathing suit without having it covered with long shorts below the knee and a dark t-shirt.
So what's the point of wearing a bathing suit then? You
Right.
just wear.
Well, but I can understand the white t-shirt, because wet t-shirt contests and stuff
Right.
like that.
But hold on though. So you can't wear shorts unless it's over a bathing suit.
Right.
See, this is why I'd be
This
like,
is a
hold
double
on.
standard. This is a double
like,
standard.
Wait a second, lady. I think you might be full of shit.
Oh, and this is gonna exclude both of us. Don't wear cargo pants.
I am currently wearing M81 Woodland BDU cargo pants.
Well, I'm not. I'm wearing a pair of basketball shorts right now, but I have about 6 pairs of cargo shorts.
Yeah.
I hate wearing jeans. I've only put jeans on like once this year so far. I don't like wearing jeans.
The last time I wore jeans is because it was required for a wedding that I was in, and that was about 4 years ago. The work that I do, I can't wear jeans because I have to have extra like pockets, and I have to have stuff that's not going to fall apart. I wear like Carhartts and stuff like that because
three of the pairs that I have are camo, like Sabaton.
Nothing wrong with that.
Don't go. Boys and girls can't swim together. Men don't allow facial hair to grow. No beards. No, don't interview for a job unless it's under authority.
So you have to have
You have to have a blessing from Jane in order to just go apply for a job. In other words, they want to keep you working in their, for like pennies on the dollar, and there's like slave labor businesses and stuff like that.
Right. My other thought was you couldn't go to a job interview without like a representative with you from the church.
I think I saw that in the notes or in the research too.
Ugh. And have a babysitter to go work at McDonald's.
Yeah, right. You'd probably be making more at McDonald's than you would by working, even at a freaking, I don't know, construction company owned by one of their upper brass.
Right. And of course you can't work at McDonald's because he was either a Catholic or a Protestant. So.
Oh, good. Yeah. Good point. I didn't know that.
You can't work at Burger King because there's only one king, but you're not allowed to read about him.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to read about him.
Yep. And Wendy was a redhead.
And it doesn't specify how much too much reading your Bible was. It says don't read your Bible too much. It doesn't specify what too much is.
Get 2 chapters a night, then you got to cut it off.
Don't accept a job unless you check it out under authority. So I got hired. We need you to start tomorrow. Hold on, I gotta call Jane. Jane, I got her voicemail. She's out at the office right now. I can let you know tomorrow. All right. Sorry, we need somebody. We need somebody to start tomorrow, not let us know tomorrow. So
yeah,
you applied for the job. So we regret to inform you that your application has been denied.
We needed somebody that brought lunch with them to start today.
Right. Don't make plans to go to college unless you have Jane check it out.
Ugh. Probably goes without saying this. I hate this woman.
Yeah. Don't sign up for classes unless Jane Whaley or leadership checks out your schedule.
So how are you supposed to schedule classes if they have to check out your schedule first?
Yeah. In other words, don't schedule classes, period. Oh, we're not telling you can't, but we have to check it out first, which we're not going to do, so therefore you can't go.
Oh, God. And this thing is still going, huh?
Oh, yeah. I'm not going through all of them. I'm probably not even going through half of them.
Oh, no. I mean, like the organization itself.
Oh, yeah, it is. Don't buy a house unless Jane Whaley can check it out.
You have to try to explain that to your real estate agent. Is this your wife? No, it's more complicated than that.
Yeah, it's complicated. Don't even make an offer on a house unless Jane can check it out and get a feel for the neighborhood.
And of course, because there might be unsavory folks here.
AKA people that might deprogram you.
Yeah. A neighbor that might ask you questions, go, that sounds a little weird.
Don't decorate your house unless Jane or her helper can help you. Don't buy a car without checking with Sam. Okay, so Sam's got some authority, finally.
Well, he's
got that chump change, He's just like, all right.
Well, clearly you need a man with you to look at cars because she doesn't know anything about them,
Aha, good point.
This is insane.
Don't sell a car without checking with Sam first.
Yeah, I mean he wants to Kelly Blue Book it to make sure you're not going to get hosed.
No, he wants to jack the price up so that you can make that big old donation. Don't get major repairs done without checking with Sam.
Huh.
Now this one is weird, but at the same time, a lot of the variations of these were shit that was like basically enforced when I was growing up. But this one sticks out. Don't buy insurance without checking with the approved church source person for insurance. Now, that's just they had an insurance agent that was part of the upper brass. That's what that tells me. But I can remember as a kid, there was this one insurance company. I can't remember which one. It was one of the big ones. And their logo, they had something, was supposedly something satanic or something. And you weren't allowed to have insurance. And if you joined, you had to switch insurance companies from that. And that was before they told you that having insurance at all was a sin.
What the hell?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what insurance company that could be.
It might have been State Farm for some reason, but there's
nothing. The three circles?
Yeah, they probably they found something. Oh God, I'm gonna have to ask somebody about that.
Let's do a State Farm logo satanic. Oh,
really? Was that it?
That's got cars and a cornucopia on it, but
oh, so maybe it wasn't State Farm, and maybe I'm just Mandela affecting it. I don't know, but I swear that kind of rang familiar to me. But all right, you want to hear some crazy shit?
I mean, if I didn't, I wouldn't be here, right?
Don't plan a vacation or time away with your family unless you check it out with Jane.
Okay. So does she have to go scout the location first?
Well, I'm thinking more along the lines of, I'm sorry, Jane's not here right now. I guess you can't go see your your daughter's I guess you can't go see your grandkids' 6th grade graduation or something like that.
You don't get to go to Maine this year because she didn't go check it out first to make sure Old Orchard Beach isn't full of Satanists and demons.
We wanted to go to Daytona Beach. Daytona Beach is the devil.
It is literally actually the devil.
It literally actually is the devil. And but our entire family lives there. Well, then they'd have demons.
Yes,
You can only go if we get to the prayer blast all of them and go with you and prayer blast all of them.
We're gonna prayer blast you from here.
And we'll do it at the end of the fucking boardwalk.
Satellite prayer blasting
during spring break.
Oh, I'm sure that'd go over real well. This woman's head would explode if she walked out there during spring break.
No kidding.
They're not even wearing bathing suits.
Or during bike week.
But I mean, she would talk to the wrong person, and her head may actually explode.
Oh man,
Hell's Angels. Oh, and then
no, I didn't even go there. I was just thinking bike week in general. There's demons all over the place. They're even advertising it on the back of their jersey, on the back of their vests.
There's some 300-pound dude with a ball peen hammer waiting for her at the door. I heard you don't like us.
Oh boy, here we go. I'm almost done, but yeah, I mean, it just. I'll say that at the end. Let's see. Don't assume you can go to a funeral or a wedding of a family member without checking it out with someone from the church or having somebody from the church go with you, a chaperone.
That is wild. I mean, yeah, because they could be getting married in a church, and we can't be having that now, can we?
No, my actually, yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely going to keep somebody from trying to come at you and deprogram you.
Uh-huh.
So, don't celebrate Christmas. We already said that. Don't give gifts to others unless you are under authority. Birthdays, Easter. Apparently, it says don't celebrate other holidays, but then the next line is don't eat turkey on Thanksgiving. So I guess you're allowed to celebrate Thanksgiving, but you're just not allowed to eat turkey? Are you allowed to eat ham?
I mean, we do ham, but like I've seen people do either or.
I'm allergic to pork, like very allergic to it. So I guess I'm screwed on Thanksgiving. Because it's turkey. It's turkey on Thanksgiving and Christmas for me.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I love turkey.
We'll occasionally do a big beef roast for Christmas too, which is not bad.
I haven't found the perfect recipe that I really like yet for beef. But don't go hunting.
Do fish, I guess.
Huh?
You can do fish.
I could.
You know.
But I like turkey though. I like to eat turkey.
But you can't eat turkey because it's a Muslim country, and that's also evil.
Don't celebrate wedding anniversaries. Don't have a slogan license plate on the front of your car.
Like a vanity plate?
I guess.
Huh.
Don't buy or drive a race car. Like a Mustang or a Camaro or something like that.
Well, what are all these 50-year-old men gonna do?
Oh man. Don't play games on the computer. Erase or delete the games. Don't play games on your cell phone. Erase or delete the games. Don't own or use a Game Boy or any other handheld electronic game device.
What?
Don't play with regular playing cards. Don't play hide and seek.
Really?
Don't play Monopoly.
That's a good rule of thumb, though, because Monopoly can get out of hand pretty quick.
This is true. I don't think I've ever finished a game of Monopoly in my life.
It goes from tabletop to table turning.
Yeah. Don't play football. What the hell's wrong with football? I love football.
Football is the devil.
It is the devil. Don't ride in the back of a pickup truck.
Safety.
Well, that is safety. That is a safety issue. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming they don't want migrant workers in this church either, because
yeah, right.
They got to get from one place to another, and they got it happens. I've seen it.
Don't play ping pong. Well, sorry, Forrest.
Yeah, no.
you can't come in, Forrest. So I walked away.
I started running.
I think this might be my favorite one. Don't play or imitate an air guitar.
Can you play or imitate a real guitar?
I'm gonna get there, but just for the sake of the video, let's both do some air guitar.
I went bass.
Okay. Well, good, because I went guitar. So, don't play music without singing the words. Like, what the hell? I'm not the best at singing and playing at the same time. So does that mean I can't, I can't be a lead singer? Like sometimes I'll just hit the freaking root chord when I'm singing, and then let the lead guitar player just do the hard work and all that stuff. And
so you can't just pick up a guitar and have fun.
Right.
No, you got to sing. Even if you got to make shit up, you got to sing.
Today's gonna be the day.
Anyway, here's Wonderwall.
Well, wait, no, Wonderwall wouldn't work because it's not Christian music, and it's not like gospel from the church.
That's true.
Don't whistle. Sorry, Guns N' Roses. Patience is out.
No Scorpions.
No Scorpions. When the change is out. Don't let children make animal sounds.
Oh my God.
We're wrapping up here.
So
not the episode. We're wrapping up the list. So.
It's probably not with these guys, but back in a previous life on my old show, we covered 12 tribes. And one of their big things was kids were not allowed to pretend to be airplanes. Yeah. No, none of that. None of that.
Devil!
Yeah. These people.
To hell! Devil.
Yeah. Oh my! I just had the worst thought ever. Kids can't play airplanes. And somebody leans in. Mr. President, a second child has hit the tower.
Oh God.
Oh God. It's been long enough. We can make 9/11 jokes now, right?
Yeah, I guess. Don't let children play with toy musical instruments.
Huh.
I'm sorry, but I know plenty of people that when they were like toddlers and stuff, playing with a little fake guitar is actually what made them learn how to play the real thing.
Right. My son has a little 3-piece drum set. And
Oh, bless your heart.
No, that's at my parents' house. That's at Nana and Grandpa's house.
Oh, bless their hearts.
So if they have a rule in here against ukulele, I can get behind that one though.
Or bagpipes.
Oh, I love bagpipes.
Oh.
Bagpipes and accordions.
But not all the time.
That shit.
But not all the time, and not in an echo chamber.
No, you got to be out in a field or something. Yeah, getting ready to fight the English. It makes blood up.
Okay, now this one I like too. Don't forget to read your Bible before you go to bed.
But don't read it too much. You imagine they've got a church representative standing next to every single person's bed and be like, "That's the last page. You have to stop it there." And
right there.
Put their finger on it. Once your eyes hit there, you stop.
You're not far out of the realm of possibility.
Oh, God.
I mean, not for that, but still. With the freaking helicopter monitoring bullshit, yeah. Black men are not allowed to shave their heads.
I mean, that's not fair because they.
I mean, what if they go bald? What if they go bald naturally?
Right.
What if a black man shows up to want to join this thing, and he's an older guy and he's gone bald completely naturally, or maybe he's gone mostly bald on the top of his head and he just shaved the rest of it off?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're gonna have to grow that back.
And like, listen, as a white dude, black dudes look way cooler than us with shaved heads.
Fuck yeah, they do. I'm not even kidding. I mean, they do. I mean,
Yeah, like,
a black man that's bald. I mean, I shaved my head one time on a bet, and I looked like a freaking idiot bald.
I've got the worst shaped skull to be bald.
Same.
You know, like you got Michael Jordan or like
Mhm.
white dude that shaves his head, and you're like, he may be like, we might need to keep an eye on this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't start a relationship without checking it out with Jane.
Mm.
Don't decide who you will marry without checking it out with Jane.
So we're getting into the arranged marriage thing too.
And
Very cool.
don't talk to the other person you are in a relationship with unless somebody is listening and guarding the conversation.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, you know what? You can go fuck yourself. Like, I'll keep my demons, thank you.
Like, hey, man, you're gonna hear some stuff that's gonna make you uncomfortable.
Yeah. Don't talk back or give excuses for your sin. Don't attack those in authority. Don't attack Jane's authority.
I feel like those last three are all in like bold red lettering on here.
Well, they're not. But yeah, I get it. But this is my
Yeah.
favorite one. It's not the last one, but it should be. Don't complain about the list of do's and don'ts.
And they just like they hide that one in the middle somewhere.
It's toward the end. You know, it's like that was it. That's all I got. But I mean,
God.
I wanted to, you know, I didn't do even half of them, but I just wanted to I picked the good ones.
And I couldn't imagine what the rest of them are either. If they're just,
hold on.
God, they've got to be terrible, just boring shit.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I went through it, and I just highlighted the good ones. So hold on. Damn it, I already turned my light off.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got to get a sample of the regular nonsense, like the not fun ones.
Don't have dingle dangles hanging from your rearview mirror.
Again, that's safety. I mean, you'll get pulled over for that up here.
Really?
Oh yeah, because it impedes your line of sight. Even though they used to put your inspection sticker directly below your rear view mirror, but that didn't impede your line of sight. But having an air freshener hanging there did.
Don't let children play with camping toys.
Oh.
I mean, we're not talking about lawn darts here.
Right. No, I'm assuming that would be like, no, you can't have like a bucket to go to the beach with.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
don't own anything with Nike on it because the swoosh is the devil.
Nah, I would just go with it because it's all from like child labor sweatshops. But
well, yeah, that too.
So
Don't chew gum in the sanctuary.
But that would also kick everybody, like the Heaven's Gate folks, out too, because they were like,
yeah,
they were repping Nike big time.
I mean, don't wear black tennis shoes.
Mm.
Don't wear high tops. I mean, it's just stuff. You know, I mean, it's just inconsequential. I picked the good ones.
No Chuck Taylors, no Air Force Ones. Get that shit out of here.
No logos at all.
God.
So, what we used to call when I was going through all this bullshit in the 80s, you could only wear what was called Bobo shoes, which were just basically generic brand shoes that you got from like Kmart or something like that.
Oh, like Keds or something like that?
Not even Keds. Not even Keds.
Wow.
Well, Keds didn't exist back then, to my knowledge. But no, just stupid looking, you know, bland looking shoes and everything. But
have you ever worked in a fast food restaurant?
I have.
Did you have the shoe catalog, like the non-slip shoes?
I did.
Were they kind of like that? Where it's just like a plain, like whatever colored shoe with
pretty much.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we had shoes for crews, man. I get it.
But it just gives you a grasp on how dominant Whaley was with her control and everything. And I'm not going to, and I'm sorry. like I said earlier, if you say, all right, welcome to the church, memorize this, I'd be like, fuck off, get the fuck, you just go away.
Let's start with the other 10. We'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, how about I just go by the 10 and we'll see.
Those are easier to remember and they actually make sense.
Yeah, but that's the devil.
yeah. Devil magic coming directly from the Bible and stuff.
Yeah, Moses had devil inside him. I mean, he did break the third tablet.
Yeah, he did. And of course, he was Jewish, so
the third tablet that he broke had all the other 135 commandments on it.
Like 8-point font through the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh God.
The 13th commandment: "Thou shalt not wear Chuck Taylors."
Even though Chuck Taylors did
pretty regularly,
Even though Chuck Taylors didn't exist back then, but yeah.
Yep.
It's like that dagger scene in frickin' The Rise of Skywalker. The dagger that was built a millennia ago, but had the little stupid map in it that lined up perfectly with the wreckage of the Death Star that was in frickin' the ocean getting corroded by salt water with like huge frickin' rogue waves and everything and all that stuff. And it lined up exactly, but it was made specifically for that time thousands of years prior. Yeah. Probably the stupidest plot device I've ever heard of or in a movie ever.
It was Disney, so therefore maybe it's the compass from Pirates of the Caribbean just built into a lightsaber. It only shows you the way you need to go.
Maybe. But Whaley also insisted on being in people's bedrooms.
Uh-oh.
On sex, she ruled that you couldn't do it more than once a week, and definitely no more than 3 times a month.
Oh, what a boring woman! Imagine your sleep paralysis.
Well,
demon looking like that woman with the crazy hair.
It's because friggin' Hobart Freeman said the same thing, but he went so far as to say sex is only for procreation and nothing else. It's a sin to have sex for pleasure.
Oh man.
But that rule came out after he was basically too old and inept to do anything. So he didn't want anybody else having fun. He couldn't have fun anymore, so he didn't want anybody else having fun. And I think that there's a lot of that, similarities with this too.
Yeah, I mean, not to be too crass, but I wouldn't sleep with that woman.
No. She would have to pay me at least 6 figures.
Oh, man, I don't know if I'd do it for that much.
I would. 6 figures? Shit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Start a business with that?
Well, you'd have to give a bunch of it back, though.
Nope. I would have a contract.
Hit it and quit it and just leave the church.
Yeah. But
I'm opening a Pizza Hut.
Or a Ponderosa.
I'm buying the old steakhouse.
I'm going to actually open a steak restaurant there.
And I'm only going to let people in here in bathing suits.
Call it Daytona Beach North.
Demon Steakhouse, and it's just regular people hanging out.
No, you buy a Hooters franchise.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can probably go on the cheap now because they're going bankrupt.
Or a Twin Peaks.
I've never been to one of those, but I've heard good things.
I haven't been, but there's actually one in Lakeland now, and I've never been to one, but I've heard that their wings are better than Hooters, but their waitresses look just as good.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go check that out.
Not something that we have here because we have nothing here.
But really, they made it a point to say that you should go, should be able to go 3 months at least without having sex and be happy with that. And there is only one position allowed. Take a guess.
Missionary through a sheet.
Well, I didn't say through the sheets, but you did have to have the lights off because you're not allowed to see what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean that takes some of the fun out of it too.
It does, unless you're leave with somebody at 2 a.m. From a bar when the lights come on.
Yeah,
and you don't want to see what you're going home with again.
You got to do the coyote trap thing.
Yeah.
Chew your arm off in the morning.
But this is the kicker. Also, you have to have agreed on it ahead of time with each other when you're going to do it. So it can't be spontaneous.
Oh, that's so much less fun.
Yeah.
Oh God, a sex schedule. Ugh,
Ugh.
these people
Ja-
suck.
Jane Whaley was seen as a prophet, and a lot of that was the insight. It was because of the insight that she seemed to have on people's lives. Well, she did, and the insight was from snitches.
Mm, the
she
rats.
she had a number of people spying on followers and reporting back to her, and she would also personally counsel people and get them to divulge their deepest secrets, which she documented and used against people.
What a scumbag.
Yeah. Because if you broke any of these rules, there'd be hell to pay, and in many cases there would be blood.
Oh. So now we're getting into some exciting shit.
Yeah, we're away from the funny and pathetic
Ooh.
shit. Now we're to the scary shit.
Mm.
By the year 2000, Whaley's location in North Carolina had over 750 people, with two more large locations in Ghana and Brazil.
Of course, we have stuff in South America. Why not?
Yeah, but she still needed to keep her grip on all of the followers, so she got her biggest lackeys together, named them as quote ministers, and put them in charge of other families as like in one person who was like in charge of a group of families.
And this is post Jonestown, right?
This is the year 2000. So
Uh,
yeah, very post Jonestown.
and Ghana wasn't like, hey, maybe let's not do this again.
No, that was Guyana.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh no, Ghana's in Africa. Never mind.
right.
Yeah,
So
I'm a history guy, not a geography guy.
damn it, Jim, I'm a history guy, not a geography guy. But like one minister might have 5 families under his control. But there were also enforcers who got their marching orders directly from Jane.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so if somebody was reprimanded by Jane or any of her lackeys or ministers, the person would be blasted in prayer in front of everybody, screaming, praying in tongues, and etc. And that was just step 1.
Mm,
But
what's step 2 through 5?
if it requires a one-on-one visit to the home by a minister, that's when the gloves came off literally.
Oh. So we're gonna
This,
show up at your house and like beat your ass.
yeah, this so-called minister had, for lack of a better term, eminent domain over the families that were under his quote care. You know, kids feared a visit from a monster. I mean, a minister.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if I was doing, if I was a kid doing whatever the parent thought was something wrong, they would call the minister, who would come over. And they would say things like, "The kid is not submitting his or her heart to God," and that's all it took. I mean, that could be something as innocent as the kid not wanting to eat onions,
Or air guitaring in the backyard.
or air guitaring in the backyard to some freaking awesome freaking praise and worship songs recorded from the previous week's service. But there's no guitars there anyway, so.
Oh God.
Most of these ministers would show up armed with a large wooden paddle and would flog these kids relentlessly until the minister had an orgasm. I mean, was convinced that the demon was gone.
Both. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Oh God. Terrible scumbags.
One woman who went through this as a kid endured a beating that lasted well over 4 hours. She was covered in bruises and bleeding, and her mom just stood there and let it happen. And when it was all over, all she said was, "The minister beat you to a pulp. You better not do that again." And this was the norm.
Okay. Here's the thing. As a parent, there is no way I could stand there and watch someone beat my kid without killing them, like right where they stood.
We did another, I think it was the Movement of God episode where there was something similar to this. And yeah, it's just, yeah, it's fucking brutal. It's scary. Yeah, and it's just like, why, why would you let somebody do that to your kids?
That was another thing with the 12 tribes. I don't know if you've covered them. Have you?
I haven't.
Okay, that'd be an interesting one for you. Because they're all over the place. They started in Tennessee. They're up here.
Oh,
They're all over the
I
place.
know who they are. Maybe I'll have you come on and take the lead on that one.
But full disclosure, I didn't do the research on that one. That was but I did have a fun idea at one point. I was like, now that I'm single, I could go in there and just sad sack my way in and infiltrate and see what the hell goes on here. But one of the things they would do is if somebody's kid was getting out of line, any adult that witnessed it was allowed to beat them.
That's common. That happened in the Alamo cult too. The one that I'm working on that's going to take me a long time to finish.
And like they still do it. And like,
yeah.
And the weird part is they have a hostel attached to their restaurant up here. They've got a sandwich shop called the Yellow Deli. And they will convince people that are staying in the hostel, be like, oh no, come hang out with us for a weekend, whatever. We have a farm, and they will load these people into a van to take them to their farm and force them to work for like 4 or 5 days, and then they'll like and take off. They'll like, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. But like there's a main like state road through there, but there's a lot of people hitchhiking to get the hell out of there.
I bet. But,
oh boy.
But if you think that they were bad in front of the parents, imagine what they did to the kids in that quote school unquote when the parents weren't even there.
Mm-hmm.
Obedience to everything was required, and if one kid got out of line, the entire class was lined up, taken to the principal's office, and flogged one by one. Other
like
times,
basic training. When your buddy screws up, everybody pays for it.
Yeah. Other times, but this is kids.
Yeah.
Other times, kids would be instructed to gang up on one kid and pray for them, pray blast them, and slapping around, beating the shit out of them, screaming at them and everything in their faces and stuff like that. It wasn't uncommon for a kid to leave for school perfectly fine, come home bloodied and bruised.
Another one that I listened to something on recently that a lot of the same stuff was going on is the Elon School in Maine.
I've heard of it,
and it was only recently shut down, like during COVID. But it was the same thing. It was it was like a school for disciplinarian challenged kids, and they had like a fucking fight club set up. The instructors were beating on people, and you had to follow all the rules to a T, or else you got the absolute shit kicked out of you.
Yeah. Well, in 2002, there was a group of 5 boys who were known as bad seeds. And by bad seeds, I mean they were kids like I was. And they're by force and hated it, but couldn't do anything about it because I'm just a fucking kid.
Ugh.
And so these kids were made examples of by Jane herself.
Oh, she's going to get her hands dirty.
She said that she kicked them out because God didn't have a place in the church for them because of how wicked they were. They were locked in a room and kept there for over a year. Just people would bring them like food and water, like once or twice a day. But of course, regular visits from ministers who would beat the shit out of them. The only media that they were allowed to consume was tape after tape of Jane Whaley's sermons.
Oh my God.
They were used it as an example of what could happen to any other kid that didn't submit. And the kicker, nobody knew exactly what these kids had done.
Probably nothing.
They probably weren't even bad seeds. They were probably just people that maybe might have been thinking for themselves a little bit, not even to the extent that I was back in the 80s, but just a little bit, maybe questioning it just a little bit. They're like, all right. But this abuse wasn't just doled out on the kids. The adults got it too. But with the adults, it was more for healthcare. Okay. Adults not going to let you sit there and beat the shit out of them.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Unless you're in the anthill kids.
Yeah. Yeah, then your buddies are going to help beat the shit out of you.
Right. But if you were sick, you had to go to a minister for your health care. they determined what was best for you, even though they very well could have been working the McDonald's fryer before joining the cult.
Yeah.
Not literally. I mean, you
Yeah.
had to have a little bit of medical background, but not much.
Yeah. I took a course once.
Huh?
I took a course once.
Yeah.
I know CPR, sort of.
I've been to doctors before, so I kind of know what they do.
That's my experience. I also have terrible handwriting, so.
Yeah. But one young lady went to a minister with foot pain. The minister poked and prodded at her foot and said that her Achilles tendon was too tight and that he would have to loosen it. How is your Achilles tendon too tight? Have you ever heard of that ever in the entirety of your life? We've got to loosen your Achilles tendon.
I've never heard of having to loosen it, but I have heard of it as a reason for somebody not playing, like, Achilles tightness. But that's more.
Yeah,
it's something that you just kind of have to rest.
It's something that you only hear about the Achilles tendon in like sports injuries and stuff like that. Dan Marino, for example.
Right.
And then he came back after he recovered from his surgery and freaking had his best year ever.
Yeah.
But still, to loosen it, we have to do surgery to loosen the fucking thing.
No, you don't.
No.
You stretch it.
Oh, God. Yeah, you do. You do freaking like, therapeutic stretches and stuff like that.
Because the first thing that's coming to mind is that scene from Pet Sematary.
Oh. Yeah, with the scalpel underneath the bed.
Hostile.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. But they actually did some sort of surgery on her foot, and her healing process was rough. 6 months later, he calls her again, saying that she needed the same surgery on her other foot. 18 surgeries later, a foot that had nothing wrong with it initially was made much worse than the other foot that did have a problem.
Oh, my God.
And multiple people had their feet ruined by this chucklehead.
And this is probably just a dude that had a thing for feet. And
he was probably like the fucking guy in Hostel.
Yeah, he's Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
I got a foot thing, but I can't tell her about it because then she'll know I'm weird. And then I'll get kicked out of here.
If you graduated from their school and wanted to go to college, you were pressured to, put the 9+ weekly services before you're studying. And if you ignored them, you'd eventually get called out by Whaley, screeching about you being infested with demons and how wicked you were. You got the prayer blast led by Whaley herself for hours. One, and probably a beaten too.
God.
Even as a young adult. One woman who this happened to told Whaley to fuck off.
No way.
She packed her bags and got the hell out of there, but she was an adult. But kids who wanted out, they were brainwashed into believing that they would wind up in a mental institution if they left, and ultimately hell.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because you didn't listen to the crazy lady, so you get to go to hell now.
Right.
And so she'll see you there, don't worry.
Yeah. So they just go along to get along. Yeah, their lot in life was to grow up, get married to a Whaley endorsed drone, and make baby cultists.
Of course.
It was called Walking Out a Friendship Relationship. Teenage girls would be introduced to boys. They had been isolated from each other up until that point. We're talking around 16, 17 years old.
Oh, no.
But in one case, a new member came in with a teenage son. But the son, Matthew, was gay. And that's a huge no-no to Whaley and the cult.
Of course.
Of course it is. But he was introduced to a girl, Danielle. Danielle did not know that Matthew was gay. And this was to help Matthew force out his gay demons. Basically, have a pretty girl seduce him.
I've got a sneaking suspicion that's not going to work.
No, but she didn't know. But so she began falling for him.
That poor girl.
Yeah. The ministers decided after a couple years that therapy wasn't working, so they called him one time for extra prayer. Meanwhile, Danielle still didn't know that he was gay. After about an hour of discussion, they decided that they weren't getting through to him, began putting the word out for people to come blast him with prayer. Like, we need reinforcements in here. The demons are particularly strong with this one. They were screeching out at him about being possessed and that lying would doom him to hell. They literally started beating the shit out of him. This is an eyewitness account from Danielle, who was there. They actually let her witness this.
Oh my God.
And this is when she found out that he was gay. They knocked him to the floor, beating his head in on the floor. They started strangling him and dragging him all over the fucking floor. He was beaten badly. He was bleeding from multiple cuts, and this went on for hours and hours and hours. And when it was all over, they just dropped him off at home and left him, And he somehow, I guess he had an adrenaline rush, or, he was in fight or flight mode and he chose flight. But he packed up, stole his mom's car, packed up in the middle of the night, took off, and never looked back.
Good for him, though. I mean, that's the kind of thing that'll make you come back with a baseball bat or a shotgun and do something terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Danielle stayed in touch with Matthew, and they came up with a plan. This is like a week later. They came up with a plan to get her out, too. He picked her up that same night that they talked in the car that he stole from his mom. And, it was in the middle of the night, and he drove her out of there. And she stayed with him and his grandparents because he had fled to his grandparents' house. She stayed with his grandparents until she was ready to branch out on her own, and they stayed friends. But Matthew decided that he wanted to sue the cult, but Jane Whaley had friends in high places, and despite Matthew's case and multiple allegations of abuse from adults and children, the charges would be dropped. Two of the upper brass of the cult were DAs.
Of course.
Several more were policemen. The best Matthew could do... we're talking about the Spindale, North Carolina. We're talking about a place that probably had a population of maybe 5,000 when they came in, and now they're bringing in, at this point they're like 750 people strong. That is a good percentage of 5,000, especially when you're bringing in people that are able to get influence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's got that town in a fucking stranglehold.
It
still does.
What was it? Om Shinrikyo, the Japanese cult?
Yeah.
People in their Senate or whatever. That's dangerous. That's more dangerous than a regular cult.
Well, shit, they got into fucking chemical weapons attacks and stuff like that.
Yes. Yep. They built a fucking AK-47 factory.
Yeah.
Which, as a gun guy, building those from scratch is not easy.
But
that's tricky.
The best Matthew could get from his imprisonment, torture, and everything else would be, all they would charge the abusers with, ministers, was misdemeanor 1. But Matthew was persistent. And there was a new sheriff in town, and this time it was not Dick Darwin's cousin. He took the case seriously, and 5 ministers were indicted for the assault on Matthew. Among the charges were aggravated kidnapping and assault. No charges were filed against Jane, although many people think that this and other assaults could have only come from Jane herself.
Of course.
The order to do it, the hit, if you will.
Because these guys are going to do everything that they're told to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to question her at any.
Yeah, but you also, these ministers probably have to go through. She has to probably screen them and find out just how fucking depraved they are, and be like, all right, you're the guy, you know, or you're the woman. A lot of cases, these ministers were women.
God damn.
And this is going on in all the satellite locations as well. The exact same thing. Yeah.
Hey,
Meanwhile,
so next time you have me on, can we just do a serial killer? This is my first cult episode of the end. I'm like, I don't like it here anymore. I want to go home. I'm gonna
Cults
call
are
my mom to come pick me up from here.
cults are fun.
Oh, there is one in, I can't remember if it was like Russia or Lithuania, but there is a cult dedicated to Gadget from fucking Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Yeah, hold on.
I would go. I would go to one of their meetings. Oh, look at that!
Uh-huh.
There's a Russian cult devoted to gadget. You know, I think I've heard of this.
Hold on.
I've heard of this.
I don't know if there's more pictures on this one or not, but there is definitely. Let me.
It might have been in a digression on a cult episode that I listened to from some other podcast. But that does ring familiar now that seeing it like that.
Oh yeah, here we go. Look at these fucking dorks.
Dressed up like fucking Tom Selleck or Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah. These people have the body mass of like sickly cats.
I don't think that that's so much a cult as much as like maybe like furries and stuff like that, or the bronies.
Yeah. Either way, like I'm okay if it all went away.
Yeah, same.
This shit is wild.
She's a cute little mouse though. I ain't gonna lie.
They got a charcuterie board.
If I was a mouse, I'd think she was hot.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But like, look at this dude here. He's just like,
yeah, he's like, God, she's so dreamy. Such a beautiful piece of cardboard.
that song from Dirty Dancing is playing in his head.
I had this time of my life. Squeak, 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 squeak.
And homeboy here in the turtleneck is just here for the sandwich tray. That'd be me. It'd be like, wait, you guys have sandwiches? Okay, cool. I can do without the weird cartoon mouse shit, but lunch.
But meanwhile, more and more cultists were being brought up on charges. Like I said, there was a new sheriff in town. 4 got busted on unemployment fraud. Business owners would have their employees claim that they had been laid off, but kept them working anyway while collecting their unemployment money.
Oh, what a scumbag.
Yeah. One minister that was charged said that Whaley had given her stamp of approval on the scheme.
Of course.
Yep.
She's not gonna she's not gonna let anything go through without her fingerprints on it.
Yep.
Especially something that's gonna make money.
But still, it's up and running, like I said, unfortunately. And although their numbers they don't have the numbers that they did, but they're still they still have good numbers worldwide. But while it is still up and running, there are strangely a whole bunch of 5-star reviews that all pretty much say the exact same thing. For example, Jane Whaley, who I'm honored to call grandmother, not prompted by force or coercion, but by a deep love for a woman who has been there for me personally in every adversary that I've ever faced.
Blink twice if you're being forced to type those.
Yeah, right. Especially the birth of a very low weight and extremely premature daughter who had numerous medical procedures or surgeries, all of which my pastors have supported me through. Now, I got questions. Who performed these surgeries on this infant?
Probably the guy that was a gardener 3 months ago.
Or, I love my life. Sam and Jane have been true pastors to me and my family. I'm eternally grateful. I love all of the ministers, too, that have always been there for me when I needed help.
Mm-hmm.
I am very, very blessed to have them.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Or... there could not be more loving, caring, and godly people than the people in this church. Their love and kindness has reached the corners of the globe, And if the media would ever consider to publish the truth, it would really be an incredible story. I would recommend that you all go to the official church website and check out the true heart of Sam and Jane Whaley. Any slander that you may read about the church is utterly preposterous and totally unfounded.
Now read a 1-star review.
Oh, there's a bunch of them. But I'm going to get to that too. I don't have any here, but still, I'm going to talk about it. But one of them says, beware of the Cooper family and their lies. So I looked them up, and it said the Coopers were the first entire family to bounce at the exact same time in 2014. And they're also one of the first to speak out against the cult. But they're all 5-star reviews, and there's many more. There's a lot more, and they all say how great of a place it is and how great Sam and Jane are. But the kicker, every single one of those 5 stars review came out about the same time, about 8 years ago.
Yeah, this
when
is
the documentary came out.
Yeah, this is some 19-year-old kid that's been locked in a room with a Google account. Like, just keep typing, keep doing it.
Either that or Whaley said, "Hey, if you hook us up with 5-star reviews, maybe the ministers won't pay you a fucking visit tonight."
Yep. Yep. Like going to a car dealership. Hey, if you leave us a good review, we'll knock $500 off. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll knock 5 beatings off.
That could have been poorly worded too.
Indeed. But yeah, the 1-star reviews and everything where people just saying, like pointing out what I just said. It's like, look at all these 5-star reviews. They all came out at exactly the same time. Like right around the time when the documentary came out.
Yeah.
So, that I didn't really look too much into it, but I'm pretty sure there are some people that were in there and escaped that were also giving 1-star reviews.
I mean, deservedly so.
Deservedly so. I mean, this is horrible. I mean, this is. I mean, a lot of it is stuff that I went through, but a lot of it's a lot worse.
1 star. This is a cult. Don't join.
Yeah. So.
Or from another show I listened to, if I could give it 0 stars, I would.
Yeah. -3 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
Please change everything.
or we could even apply my favorite Dark Windows review that I've ever gotten. 3 stars. Tried it once, won't again. I really wanted to put that on a t-shirt for the longest time. I was like, yeah, the 4 people that listen to this show aren't gonna buy a t-shirt.
You had a bigger following than that.
We sold 4 t-shirts.
Well, I haven't even sold one.
But they were all homemade, so that might have been part of the reason. But
But I mean, but that's what I got. I mean, that was a rough one, and yeah, I just.
But the good news is we brought some levity and light to it and picked on this woman relentlessly.
Yeah, and she's more than welcome to come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have her on. I put out the same invitation to her that I put out to the people from Faith Assembly that are still alive. Come on.
I mean, if she wants to come on and she wants to bring some of the ministers on, I'll even give them my address so they can come talk to me personally. And they'll find out what a stand your ground state looks like.
Florida's one too.
Is that a level 4 bow tie? I hope so.
So, anyway, thanks a lot for listening, everybody. Thanks to History Goon, Kevin from History Goon, and whose podcast will be out sometime
shortly, hopefully
in my lifetime. If you like us, tell a friend. If you hate us, tell an enemy. And until next week, later.
Bye-bye.